All right, looking ahead to 2026, there's one travel trend that's absolutely blowing up, and that's urban exploration, with a huge spotlight on Asia. We're seeing this massive wave of travelers just flocking to the region's most vibrant cities, completely drawn in by their unique energy and culture. So, the big question is this the beginning of Asia's next huge tourism boom? Let's dive in and break it down.
So, here's how we're going to tackle this. First, we'll look at the boom. What makes these Asian cities so irresistible in the first place. Then, we've got to talk about the burden, the hidden costs that come with all this popularity. After that, we'll take a tour of the top hotspots to keep your eye on for 2026. And finally, we'll wrap up with a blueprint for how cities can actually achieve sustainable success.
Okay, first things first, the boom. What is it that's really driving this incredible magnetic pull towards Asia's modern cities? It's more than just cool skyscrapers and busy streets. There's something much deeper going on here. I mean, think about it. What is it that just pulls us into the heart of a city? You take places like Tokyo, Seoul, or Bangkok. It's like they're a tiny version of the entire country, all packed into one electrifying, concentrated spot. You get a taste of everything. And that, my friends, is what we're calling urban exploration, or urbex for short. It's really about diving headfirst into the complete city experience. We're talking cultural landmarks, incredible food, amazing shopping, and even a little bit of adventure. It's the whole shebang. And, we can't ignore how much pop culture plays into this. I mean, how many movies or TV shows have we all seen that just paint this incredibly romantic picture of city life? They sell us on the glamour of the city lights and that little thrill you get from exploring somewhere totally new. But, of course, there's always a flip side to all that glamour, isn't there? And that brings us right to the core conflict, the hidden costs. When does a tourism boom stop being a boom and start becoming a real burden for the people who actually live there? And this right here really lays out that central tension, that tug of war. On one hand, you have the promise of amazing cultural exchange, but that comes with the very real peril of over-tourism. Economic growth is fantastic, but it puts a huge strain on local infrastructure. And yeah, global connection is what we all want, but it can also bring new safety and security risks. And these aren't just hypotheticals. I mean, cities are really grappling with some major challenges. Over-tourism is a huge one. We've seen it in Japan, where the flood of visitors is straining resources and making prices shoot up. Then you've got unpreparedness, especially in places like the Philippines and Cambodia, where the infrastructure is just struggling to keep pace. And of course, safety and security are always top of mind, particularly for women and minority travelers. But even with all these hurdles, this urban exploration trend is not slowing down one bit. So let's get to the good stuff. Which cities are the ones to watch in 2026? Let's take a little tour of where the action is. All right, kicking us off, we've got Thailand. Of course, you have Bangkok, right? The exotic energy, the incredible street food. It's always been a massive draw. But now, travelers are also heading north and discovering the much more relaxed, artistic vibe of Chiang Mai. It creates this really rich, diverse urban experience. Okay, next up, Malaysia. It's really having a moment right now. Kuala Lumpur is definitely a rising star, but it's the smaller cities that are really grabbing people's attention. You've got Malacca, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, which is a must-see for culture buffs. And then there's Penang, which is becoming a major hub for MICE. That's meetings, incentives, conferences, and exhibitions. And you can't talk about this trend without mentioning Singapore. I mean, it's pretty much the innovation hub of Southeast Asia. It's a city that is constantly evolving, which makes it the perfect spot for huge world-class events, from sold-out concerts to massive international conferences. And just to put that into perspective, to give you a sense of the sheer scale we're talking about here, Singapore is getting ready to welcome somewhere between 17.5 and 20 million foreign visitors this year alone. That number is just massive, and it really drives home how powerful this trend is. All right, let's head over to Vietnam, which is just a cultural powerhouse. Its biggest cities, Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City, are like living museums. They're absolute treasure troves of history with countless heritage sites and historic spots that tell the story of the country's incredible past. And finally, let's talk Indonesia. Look, we all know Bali is the star, but Jakarta is really stepping into the spotlight. The capital is working hard to build its own unique identity with campaigns like Enjoy More, Enjoy Jakarta, basically inviting the world to come discover the vibrant melting pot that it is. So, with all this incredible growth, you have to ask the big question. How can these cities ride this wave without drowning their own residents? That brings us to our final section, a blueprint for how they can do this sustainably. Well, it really boils down to 4 key steps, a kind of blueprint, if you will. First, you need clear legal and ethical rules to manage how visitors behave and to keep everyone safe. Second, invest in those MICE facilities to bring in high-value business and entertainment events. Third, and this one is so important, you have to involve and empower the local communities. Give them a real stake in the industry. And fourth, build strong partnerships between the public and private sectors to get the funding for all the infrastructure you need. But hey, this isn't a one-way street. It's not all on the cities to figure this out. We, as travelers, have a huge role to play. That means doing our homework on local laws and customs, being respectful of the culture, and dressing the part, especially when we're visiting sacred or historic sites. It's really about being a thoughtful guest, not just another tourist. And that really leaves us with the big lingering question, doesn't it? As all these incredible Asian cities compete for the world's attention, can they actually find that perfect balance between the promise of growth and the very real danger of being overwhelmed by their own popularity? That is the challenge they're facing in 2026 and for many years to come.